Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. Today I'm going to show you how to descale the Keurig K-Select with white vinegar. So I just did another video and I showed you how to descale it with the Keurig descaling solution. The Keurig solution works really well. It costs $6, but this big jug of white vinegar only costs $1.50 from Walmart. So the biggest advantages of using the Keurig solution is it takes a lot less time. Within about an hour I can have it descaled. But with the white vinegar, I got to let the white vinegar soak a little bit longer. So when I get the white vinegar inside the machine, I've got to let it sit for 3 hours. So that's the biggest difference, time, but I can save some money by using the distilled white vinegar. Now we're not going to use this whole jug. We're going to use about 2 cups of it. So the K-Select does have a descale light. So if your descale light is on, it's time to descale it. Even if your descale light is not on, it's a good idea to descale these every three to 5 months, depending on how hard your water is. If you have really hard water, you're going to want to descale this at least every 3 months. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to empty this water reservoir with all the water. If you've got a carbon filter in there, we're going to remove the carbon filter inside the water tank if you've got it. This machine didn't come with one, but you can buy one extra. Remove it. We're going to keep this out for the entire length of the process. Next, we're going to go to the K-cup area. Make sure your needle basket is in. We're going to leave this empty. We're not going to put a K-cup in for the entire length of the process. So about 2 cups of vinegar is what we're going to add. So I'm going to pour it. The vinegar kind of smells, and especially when it's brewing. The descaling solution, this really doesn't have a smell to it. So this stuff is a little easier to rinse out. The Keurig, you got to do a couple more rinses. Okay, so I've got 2 cups of vinegar. I'm going to pour it into my reservoir. Now I'm going to fill this up again, 2 cups of just fresh water. Okay, so here I've got 2 cups of just fresh water. So in case you don't have a measuring cup, when you first put the vinegar in, it's going to come up to about here. And then I'm going to put the fresh water in. So they want a 1-to-1 ratio. 2 cups of water, 2 cups of vinegar, and that's all the liquid we're going to put in there. We're not going to fill this up to the max line, not yet. Okay, so make sure you got a container large enough. We're going to be doing a bunch of these 12-ounce servings. So I got to lift the handle. That activates it. Now I'm going to press the 12-ounce. Now what that's going to do is that's going to run that vinegar and water through the machine. And there's a heater, there's a tank and a heater inside this machine. And we want that vinegar and water to get inside that heater and tank and run through it. You may see some little white specks from the hard water calcium deposits inside this. I'm going to keep, when this is done, I'm just going to throw this down the sink. I'm going to keep running this 12 ounces until the add water light comes on. Once I see that add water light come on, I'm going to leave the unit powered up and we're going to let it sit. Okay, so I threw that out. I got to lift the handle to activate it, and I'm going to do another 12. Again, we're running the vinegar and the water down. So there's going to be about that much left when the low water light comes on. So you can see the water and the vinegar is going down. It's going inside the machine to descale it. Okay, so that at the end of that process, the add water light came on. So the add water light, it first blinks, then it comes on steady. So now we're going to leave the machine sit. Leave it powered up. Don't touch the power button. And we're going to let it sit. Now, since we used white vinegar, we've got to let it sit for 3 hours. That's where the big difference comes in. With the Keurig descaling solution, you only got to let it sit for 30 minutes. But since we're using vinegar, they recommend letting it sit for 3 hours. So we got to let it sit for 3 hours. At the end of 3 hours, we're going to come back, rinse this out, and fill this up with fresh water. Okay, so it's been 3 hours. I still have some vinegar and water in here. Now it's time to I let that sit in there for the 3 hours because it also helps to descale kind of the bottom of you might have some white deposits in the bottom of the reservoir. So now I'm going to take this to the sink and I'm going to throw this out and I'm going to wash this with soap and water and fill it up to the max line with fresh water. Okay, so I cleaned this out with soap and water really good. I've got it filled with fresh water. I've got my container here. Again, we're going to make sure there's no K-cup in here. We're going to power the unit on if it powered off, and we're going to do a bunch of these 12s. What that's going to do now is that's going to run fresh water through the machine to clean out the rest of that vinegar so that it doesn't taste or smell when you do a cup of coffee. So I run 2 complete reservoirs of water through my machine on the 12-ounce setting to get all of the vinegar out of here. So you're going to have to give yourself, so with the 3-hour setting, you're going to have to give yourself about 3 hours and 45 minutes to kind of do this start to finish. And all I'm doing, so this is just that, this is going to have some of that vinegar and water, and I'm going to go throw this away. And I'll just keep lifting the handle and keep doing the 12-ounce setting until the low water light comes on, and then I'll fill this reservoir back up and run a whole nother reservoir through it by just doing 12-ounce fresh water rinses. So at the end of this, if your descale light is still on, they recommend doing the whole process again. If the vinegar probably didn't do it, I would probably get the Keurig descaling solution and try it. It's a little bit of a different, this is citric acid, where this is vinegar. So again, I lifted the handle, I got it activated, I'm gonna do a 12-ounce, and I'm gonna keep rinsing fresh water through this, 2 full reservoirs of water through there. I hope the video helps. If you've got any questions on how I descaled this, check out my other video about using the Keurig solution, and leave your comments down below. I check my comments on a daily basis. I'll try to help you out as much as I can. Thanks everybody for watching, and if you could, please like and subscribe.